Kindie Rockstars. Prepare for a treat, let's meet and greet some bands and singers that are super sweet, making music that's fun for boys and girls. Help them learn about this great big world. Fun for the family, yes it's true, your kids will love it and you will too. Clap and dance and sing aloud, become a part of the Kindie crowd. These songs will make you move your feet and give your ears a great big treat. So settle in, grab your guitars, and let's get to know our Kindie Rockstars. Hello everyone, and welcome to Kindie Rockstars. This is the show that gives you the stories behind the songs from some of the best bands and singers that are making fun, informative, educational, catchy, and occasionally silly songs for children and families. I'm your host, Patrick Adams, and each episode of Kindie Rockstars will feature an artist and a featured song. So let's get to this week's show. With us today is Marsha Goodman-Wood of Marsha and the Positrons. Welcome to the show, Marsha.
Hello, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and the Positrons.
Sure. We sing songs about science and how the world works with positive social messages. And writing and singing about science comes from my background as a neuroscientist. I used to do cognitive neuroscience. And so when I had kids and started getting questions from my kids about all manner of things. A lot of times the answers would be science answers, and some of those answers turned into songs. So, that was sort of like the initial songs came from lots of conversations with my kids and also with kids I was teaching. So when my eldest was about 3 years old, I sort of got recruited to teach music at her preschool. After coming in for her third birthday celebration and bringing my guitar, and I had written an original song and led the class in some songs, and then the director said, "Hey, have you thought about teaching music?" And that sort of led to me doing a training and working there for a few years. And while I was working there, just the kids would have great questions and comments, and so some of those also turned into songs, and that was really the initial inspiration for my songwriting. And, like I said, I like to write about science and like to include fun science facts in the songs. And because I know that kids are just sponges and they just, absorb everything and hear everything, listen to all the messages. And so I really wanted to make sure that all the information was accurate, but also just make it fun and make kids excited about science. And so like one of the most rewarding parts of doing this is, getting stories from parents or from kids that, they listened to a song and then they decided to, look up online about Jupiter's moons, or they decide, they learned something about gravity or some cool thing like that. So, it's just fun to sort of get kids excited about science and to show them a way to have fun with science.
And so your music class evolved into pulling a band together and ultimately releasing music.
Yeah, so it was sort of a long pathway. I was teaching, and eventually, after a few years of teaching sort of the 3 to 5s, and they had added the 2-year-old classrooms and added drama, and I did a musical with the graduating 5-year-olds, and then they cut the music program at the school. So I ended up teaching my own music classes for babies and toddlers. So then I had, that experience of working with those younger kids. And then just about after a couple of years of doing that, my third child was about to be born. And And I kind of realized that if I didn't record any of my original songs within a short time, that it would be like another 5 years before I would have an opportunity to do that. So I decided to go into the studio and recorded my first record, Gravity Vacation, when I was 9.5 months pregnant, or not, almost 8.5 months pregnant. Excuse me. It was 2 weeks before I delivered. And I got to work with this amazing producer. His name is TJ Lipple, and he ended up making our next record as well. And we intend to work with him for our upcoming record. So we're, this past year of pandemic, I've done a lot of songwriting, and so we now have material for this next record, and in fact, like more material than we need for a whole record probably. So we'll have our choice of songs, and we're just sort of figuring out logistics with the current situation of and figuring out when we can all get together, because the band has grown. So during all this time, I started playing with different folks, and we sort of eventually added enough folks to become a band. So first, of the people who are currently in my band, Wardell Howell is my bass player, and I started working with him and have worked with other people. But Wardell sort of is the like longest band member, longest existing band member that's there now. And we've added Ayana Gallant, who is a multi-instrumentalist and singer as well, and she does percussion, hand percussion. And then we have a fiddler whose name is Shell Folk, who joined us not long before the pandemic. So she'll be a part of our next record. And then during pandemic, I also met an electric guitar player who was another dad at soccer. So my youngest was doing a soccer class. We met on the sidelines, and he, of course, has played in bands, and we ended up meeting up and jamming, and he's now part of the band. And then our producer TJ Lipple has also joined us at some recent shows on drums. So he's kind of he'll be joining us from time to time going forward, sort of depending on his own schedule and such. So we've grown, and it's exciting.
And are they all into science as much as you are?
Everybody really likes science. It's no one else is an actual scientist, but they all appreciate science and enjoy science, and they're all, I think, fans of the music, which is fun. It's always fun for me to like bring a new song and see their reactions, because I've been writing all the songs so far. Although there may be additional input from band members going forward. We'll see sort of where that goes. But so far, I've written all the songs, and I never really know. I know if I like a song, but I never know for sure if others are going to like a song after I've written it. So I kind of like to either bring it to an audience or bring it to my bandmates and see what their reactions are. And it's always fun when somebody's like, "Oh, I love this idea, or I love these lyrics," or whatever. So yeah, it's fun. And I would say that they are all science lovers.
Yeah. Well, with a topic like science, the material is endless.
Right.
So yeah,
and
I don't think you'll ever run out of topics.
Well, and also I think that like kids are sort of natural scientists. They're always curious. They ask a lot of why questions. They're sort of ready for any answer. And I think that's it's sort of like it's fun to work with that curiosity and sort of encourage that curiosity, which whether a child ends up sort of like taking a deep interest in science or not, it's still helpful to have that curiosity in anything that they do in life. So I feel like it's a good thing in general.
Nice. So are you ready to dive into your song?
Absolutely.
All right. Today's song is called Alien in an Ambulance. I love this title. That title makes me wonder where this song is going. So tell me more about this song and what inspired it and the background.
Okay, so this was a funny one. My youngest was I think not yet 2, somewhere in the neighborhood of 2, and we were driving on the Beltway in Washington D.C., which is the highway that goes around Washington, stuck in some traffic, and there was an ambulance that was a couple of lanes over, and he was trying to tell me ambulance, but the way that he was saying it, it sounded like aliens. He wasn't quite able to. So I realized he was like pointing to the ambulance saying aliens, aliens. And so I was like, it sort of, brought up this image of alien in an ambulance, aliens in an ambulance. And that sort of, to me, seemed like a funny song idea. And so it's really an alphabet song, and it pairs a creature with a vehicle for every letter of the alphabet. Sometimes people don't notice that because it's sort of it's sort of a little bit subtle. I had once heard someone say, if you're going to write an alphabet song, it better be original, because there have been a lot of alphabet songs written. So occasionally people have heard the song, and later on I'll mention, that it was an alphabet song, and they sort of are like, oh, which is always, I feel like then I was successful. If they didn't quite notice it. And I almost didn't put this song on the record because I was worried that it was too long. It's kind of, getting through the whole alphabet does make the song a little bit long. And so then I had the idea to do it as a duet, and I was privileged to be able to work with Barry Lewis Polisar for this song. And he lives not too far from me. He lives in Maryland, which is just one state over, and was able to come to the studio when we were recording, and we just had a blast, doing the song together. And it's a treat to have him on the recording, since he's kind of a legend of Kindie music. So that's the other voice that you're hearing on the record. And we do have a video for this song, hopefully coming sometime soon. So it's not out yet, but hopefully we will have that coming up before too long.
This is an awesome concept for a song. Can't wait to play it. All right.
Thank you so much.
Alien in an Ambulance by Marsha and the Positrons.
I saw an alien driving an ambulance today. At least I think I did.
Alien?
On the highway. I know, right? And last Tuesday I saw a bear driving a bus. I told my mom. She said,
"Are you feeling okay?"
There was a cat in a cab, and a dog in a dump truck, and an elephant riding an escalator. I saw a fox in a fire truck, a ghost in a garbage truck. It waved at me and said, "I'll see you later." Da 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 da. So I told my dad about the strange things I've seen. He said,
"Well, I think you've been watching way too much TV."
Then a hyena in a hybrid beeped and waved a big hello. But the ibex in the ice cream truck thought it meant she was slow.
She looked a little mad, but ignored it and moved on.
Plus the line of waiting kids was stretching way across the lawn. I told my teacher the story, and she thought it mighty fine. She asked if I would like to share it at the next day's circle time. Da 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 da.
With a jackal at the wheel, on top a kangaroo in a kayak, using its tail as a keel.
I guess they were going on a weekend camping trip. If I'd only hit record, I'd have a viral online clip. Da 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 da. Next, a llama in a limousine winked as he zoomed by, and a moose on a motorcycle passed and shouted hi.
I saw a newt in a narrowboat headed for the ocean,
and an owl in an off-road truck was causing a commotion.
The newt thought the ATV was not a wise choice,
but the owl didn't hear her since she had a quiet voice. A parrot in a patrol car switched on his siren. The quail watching from the Q train wondered if the cops were hiring. Da 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 da. Seemed like a friendly guy. He smiled at squirrels in a spaceship shooting far across the sky.
And if you've ever seen a turtle riding in a tow truck,
it's a pretty sad sight. Poor thing's been down on her luck. Da 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 da. When I told my grandpa, he clearly agreed. So I told him everything and soon brought him up to speed.
He marveled at a yo-yo riding in a U-boat.
Thought the vampire in the van should stay away from my throat. Then I told my grandma grandma, and she gave me a cookie. I'm not sure she believed I saw a water skiing Wookiee, and she wondered aloud why a Xenops, that's a bird, would need to fly an X-Wing fighter. It's all a bit absurd. Everyone tells me that I'm daydreaming,
'Cause a yak in a yacht is awfully odd-seeming.
but when I told you I saw a zebra driving a Zamboni, you said you just saw a peacock on a pony.
So now we'll talk of the wacky things no one else sees.
Make up stories and songs about bobsledding bees. I'm so glad you like to think up this stuff too. You know the best thing to see is a silly friend like you. Yeah, the best thing to have is a silly friend like you.
That was Alien in an Ambulance, one of the most original alphabet-based songs I think anyone will ever hear. So, Marsha,
Thank you.
please tell everyone where they can download and stream that song and where they can find you and the Positrons on social media.
Absolutely. So you can find us at our website, marshaandthepositrons.com, www, of course, before that. And you can download the song. One of the best places to download it is at Bandcamp, where we also have some fun merch. And Bandcamp is sort of like the nicest to artists. But you can also find it if you like iTunes and Apple Music. It's there. It's on Spotify and Pandora. That one's not on Pandora, but that one's on Spotify and Deezer and some of those other places as well. And you can find us as well on YouTube, Marsha and the Positrons channel. You can find us on Instagram at Marsha and the Positrons, on Facebook at our Marsha and the Positrons band page, and we're also on Twitter sometimes at Marsha Positrons. So any of those places.
Very good. Well, Marsha, thank you so much for being on the show and teaching us about science and original songs about ABCs. That definitely warrants several listens to catch all of it.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been really fun talking with you.
Yes, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.